Hi everyone, this is the video for exercise 4-21. To be able to actually complete the required steps, you actually have to do some extra calculations that is not given room in the spreadsheet provided by the publisher. So what I did was I just created a new spreadsheet. It could be a Word document, whatever, just so you have the numbers written down so you know exactly what you're using. So let's start with activity rates. That's what we're going to need for part one of the problem. So to calculate the setting up of equipment activity rates, you're actually going to go in the textbook. You're going to take the expected cost divided by the activity capacity. You're going to do the same thing for the other three items. So in this case, it would be 126,000 divided by 150, which is the expected cost divided by the activity capacity. So 126 divided by 150 gives us 840 hours. I'm sorry, $840 per setup. So I would just write that, make a note somewhere for you. So now that we have that information, we can go to the spreadsheet we're given for the problem. For Model X and Model Y, it's going to be the same dollar amount. Again, this is one of those that's going to tell you you're wrong if you enter the wrong number, which is nice. And then you have your activity usage. So if we go back to the textbook, number of setups for Model X is 100, Model Y is 50, so we're going to enter that information in, 150. Again, if you got it wrong, it's going to tell you you're wrong. So that's how you're going to do the first part of the problem. You're going to take the information in the book, divide it, get your extra amounts. For the new cost pools and activity rates, it's a little bit different. It's pretty close to similar though. So let's start with setting up equipment for the new cost pools. We're going to take our 126,000. That is going to be added to 126,000 divided by 252,000 and then that is going to be multiplied. So let's see where we get the information from. So the 252,000 is the activity for setting up, it's the expected cost for the setting up of equipment and the machining. So those are going to be the two amounts to get the 252,000. And then we're going to multiply by 48,000. And that amount actually comes from the expected cost of ordering materials and receiving. So this is the cost of setting up equipment that we used in the activity rates in part one. Then we're going to take that amount, divide it by the total of the setting up and machining, multiplied by the ordering materials and receiving amounts. And luckily, because both the machining and setting up equipment is the same amounts at the beginning, the same expected cost, it's going to be the exact same formula for both parts. So that's going to give you the new cost pools. Now that we have the new cost pools, we can then calculate the new activity rates. So the answer for the formula is 150,000. So we're going to take that amount, multiply it by the number of setups. So in this case, there's 100 setups for Model X. I'm sorry, we're going to multiply it by the number of setups over here at the top for the activity driver of 150. And then for the machining, we're going to take the same 150,000 since it's the same for both. That is going to be multiplied by the machine hours of 10,500. And that's the formulas, the extra information you're going to need. Once you get those done, you're going to come back and put them in to... Okay, so now that we have the answers over here, we're going to take those and we're going to put them into the formulas over here. So setting up equipment, it is going to be this amount. Oops, I'm sorry, I should have written, you're going to divide here, and you're going to divide down here. It's going to make a huge difference. So if we do the math, it's $1,000. So we're going again, like we did before for part one, $1,000 in both places. The difference is going to come with the activity usage that we used above. So that would be 100 and then 50. Machining, it's going to be a per hour amount from right here. So whatever that amount is, you're going to enter it into this part, again, just like we did up here, and then the machining hours. So it's going to be 6,000 and then 4,500. And then that is all you do for parts 1 and 2. Part 3, I will need either, since you can't change the spreadsheet, I'll need either a Word document or a spreadsheet file. It could be the same one that you take your notes on to get the formulas. And you're going to figure out the percentage of error. Okay, for this last part, for part 3, we're asked to find the percentage error. And this is where you're going to need to use the information that you've already calculated on parts 1 and 2. So for the percentage error of model X, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the total overhead from part 2, subtract the total overhead from part 1, and then divide it by the total overhead part 1. And that's going to give us a percentage of error. It's going to be the same formula for model Y. And then you're going to give me a reasoning. You're going to tell me, is it accurate? Will we prefer to use model 2, model 1, Y? And just give me some information on what you personally believe you're going to need would be better for the company to use. So if you have any questions on this part of the question, let me know, and I hope